sorry. I didn't mean to startle you. Well, if you're certain. Good. It seems like I'm not the only one who enjoys the solitude of this little cove. But you're the first one that I know of who likes to see this place in the middle of the night. No, no, no. I'm not saying that it's my cove. That's a little selfish, isn't it? This is the beach, the ocean. This doesn't belong to anyone. Of course you are. And if you'd like, I can be on my way, and you can relax here. It is a beautiful spot, so I do not blame you. Are you sure? You seem to be a little lost in thought. Well, if you insist. You know, the low tide doesn't usually come all the way down to this level, even at night. Usually it only covers or goes halfway down this cove, but seems to have completely removed itself. I wonder if that means the high tide will be bigger tomorrow. Simply because I enjoy visiting the ocean, the beach, as much as I can, and sometimes I have to figure out when it's safest. Yeah. What about you? I mean, you're here. Yes, it would give me that impression that you like the ocean just as much as I do. Although my senses are telling me something else is going on. You needed a little time for yourself. Is that right? Mm. Well, seeing as how I barely know you, or well, don't know you at all, I can't really give you much advice. But if whatever is troubling you needs an ear to hear you out, I'm more than happy to. Of course, I don't mind. Yes, I'm sure. Think of it as chatting with a bartender or your favorite barista on their break. Seeing as I cannot stay around for hours. But I'll be here to listen for a bit, while the sound of the waves in the distance are just there. Of course. So before you do, let me ask, what is your name? Hmm. It's nice to meet you. I'm Song. Yes, thank you. Oh, thank you. Really? I'm the first one with that name. I've heard other people have it. Maybe not here, but in other places. Yeah, I've traveled all over. Across the oceans, one would say. Hmm. There are many that are memorable. Exactly. It's hard to choose a favorite. But this isn't about me. Although I appreciate you wanting to hear about my little life and adventures. You said earlier you weren't feeling great. Oh, are you sick? Well, I was going to say physically, yes. Well, I wouldn't want to assume anything. But when I saw you, your face, your eyes in the moonlight, something told me that you were going through something. That's one of the reasons why I wasn't sure on whether or not I should stick around. I wasn't sure if you would want someone to sit with you or if you preferred being by yourself. It's very true. You did ask me to sit with you, and I appreciate that. Of course not. Like I said, I won't ask, or well, I won't give you any advice unless you ask for it. Especially because I don't know everything. Your whole story, who you are. Again, just strangers on a beach. But I'm still here to listen. Of course. Of course I'm ready. What's on your mind? Yes, I do know what mental health is. I'd say a lot of individuals know what it is in its many forms. Mm-hmm. There are many, aren't there? Oh, I guess you could argue that. But you can also argue that there are many based on different factors. That I'm getting sidetracked. What about your mental health? Well, judging by the fact you asked whether or not I knew about the ins and outs of mental health and all that, it's funny, I said I'm not one to assume, but I'd have to assume that what's on your mind has to do with that. Mental health? Mm-hmm. Stranger on a beach, remember? You'll get no judgment from me. Don't worry. Of course. I promise. I won't tell anyone. I'm sure of it. Don't worry about it. Of course. My ears are ready to hear what you have going on in your brain. Mm-hmm. And what's been troubling you? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I see. Mm, it's true. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Fascinating. No. No, you're not a problem. You're not a burden either. Of course I don't mind. I'll be here as long as the tide is low. When the tide starts to rise, then I'd suggest we both leave. Hey, it's okay. Look at me. Look, we don't know each other. Of course not. But there's nothing wrong with feeling what you're feeling. Okay? It's different from person to person, from what I know of. And things like that, it affects people differently. It doesn't make you any less of a man, of a person, of a human. Because you're human. Humans have feelings and emotions, reactions to those emotions. Well, sometimes it's not always the best reaction to certain emotions. It doesn't invalidate the fact that you have emotions in the first place. Yeah, well, that's just because that's how society was for a long time. To this day, it still is, especially in some places, communities, countries, even in some households. And I'm not expecting them or you to decide that it's okay to share how you feel in a way in which people can understand overnight. But I am saying that it's okay to feel these things. to feel them, to let them move on. Ah, yes. The stoic, strong protector that is a man. You do realize that men who feel and experience their emotions no, they're not weak. As cliche as it sounds, it makes them stronger because they're willing to face a vulnerable and very real part of themselves that the rest of the world tries to force them to shut out. I know. To some degree, I know. Obviously, I'm not a guy, but I have brothers of varying ages. I have a father, and each of them struggle with their own things. Some share, some don't. Some share a little, while others might as well write a novella based on their feelings. Not like there's anything wrong with that, though. What I'm saying, or what I'm trying to convey, is that you're not alone. You may feel like you can't share how you feel with anybody, because that's what society wants you to do, because that's what makes a real man. That's ridiculous. Yes, of course. You can be emotionally aware of yourself and allow yourself to feel these things and to take care of yourself mentally, as well as be strong and be a man. Or manly, whatever people say nowadays. Your feelings are not invalid. And you're not alone. Definitely not. Not by a long shot. And just because they may not be experiencing the exact same life that you're experiencing, that doesn't mean that you can't share emotional sentiments with each other. You could. You're not alone. Remind your friends that they're not. That's okay. You don't even need to verbally say it. I know sometimes guys don't like to just spill out their heart like some ladies do. Some, not all. Other individuals as well. But just being there, reminding them that they're not alone just like you. That you're there to understand. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Just like how I'm sure you'd appreciate it. Well, I'm glad that you do. Through me. Even though we don't know each other, I'm glad. But, like I said, you're not a burden. I'm happy that I can hear these things from you. It means you think it's safe enough. And again, I won't tell anybody. But just keep in mind what I said. You're no less of a man because you feel these things. You're no less of a man for seeking guidance or help, support, someone to just talk to vent to, someone or people who are there to listen. They don't have to give advice, you can just listen or help distract you. Well, if we knew each other better, and if I wasn't so confined to my spaces of work, I probably would love to. I work with ocean wildlife. Sure, yeah. But it's not about me. This is you. Again, you're not a burden. Doesn't make you any less of a man for wanting to speak and rant, talk about what's going on in your head. At its least, at the least, yes, you'll at least feel better saying some of these things out loud. Bottling it up inside you will cause you to explode. And those who do care about you be worried sick. And I'm sure you wouldn't. Exactly. I'm sure you would if they did the same. Because you care about them just like they care about you. I care about you. Of course, it's no problem. Remember, you were worthy. You were good. And you deserve to be heard. Doesn't make you any less of a man. And more people should be aware of this. Is there really? Fascinating. Well, hopefully it can be more accepted, less stigmatized for guys to admit when they're not okay. Now, before I go, because I can see that the tide is starting to rise. Unfortunately, yes, duty calls. But if you'd like, tell me a little more of what you were saying earlier. What's wrong? Why do you feel these things? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Of course, that makes a lot of sense. You're right. It is. Huh. That means I gotta get going. And I suggest that you don't stick around for much longer. I would hate to read in the news in the morning some gentleman got lost at sea. Yes. It would be a shame. Well, hey. I'll get going, but remember what I said. You're worthy. You're no less of a man for saying these things, for being open and honest about your feelings and your mental health. The stigma is not going to go out overnight, but by accepting how you feel, reminding yourself and your friends and others that the feelings are valid too. I think it'll be one small step at a time until that stigma may be completely removed. It'll take a while and probably won't happen in our lifetime. But hey, at least we'll help scoot it along, right? Of course. It's no problem. Alright, I must go. It was lovely meeting you. Who knows? Maybe we will see each other again someday. Maybe. Oh, no. Sorry, but I don't have one. But I'll tell you what. If there ever comes another time where the tide here is extremely low, you can find me here for at least a little while, admiring the cove, the ocean, the stars. Fantastic. Never, ever worry about it, and no need to thank me. Just take care of yourself, okay? People care about you, and now I care about you. You know what I mean. Of course I did. That was from stranger to stranger. Now I'd say I care about you a little more like a friend to a friend kind of way. You're welcome. Alright. I'm off. You take care, okay? Like you said, you're not alone in this. That's good that you remember it. But I'll see you maybe another time. Farewell.